We met for the first time in April to shoot the videos and do some takes in the studio footage and stuff like that. So actually, we
Wait,
didn't
are you telling me that some of the recording footage in that video is not real?
Yes.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
Okay, Nicoletta, thank you so much for your time today. As we're talking, we're just a week really away of the new, or should I say, the first Erinyes album. This is a different album for you, a different project. I will come back to that, but is it nevertheless, is it still as exciting as a release of one of your own bands, or does this feel very different for you?
Well, actually, I still feel the excitement because every time you put out some new music, you are really curious about what people will think about it, and so I'm really excited to see what people will say, if they will appreciate it. Actually, the very first 3 singles were really well accepted by both the press and the fans, so I'm really looking forward for this release. Of course, it's a different thing from my home band where I also write music. Of course, the feelings are a little bit different, but of course, there's still excitement in the air.
I think a lot of people will label this at the end of the day as pop metal in the way that we've seen with Beyond the Black, Battle Beast, a mixture of modern heavy power metal with some electronic influences. It's a little different from the music that we see you make with your bands. Is it fun to do something different?
Absolutely, yes. And this is actually one of the point that I was looking forward to work on this project, because there's no sense in doing so many similar projects. I'm doing power metal with my band Kalidia, and I'm great in that band. No sense at doing another similar band. So I'm really happy we are doing something different, more on the symphonic pop metal, like the other band you mentioned. I think you really picked up very similar band. So I'm really excited. And also I had the chance to work with 2 other fantastic singers, Mizuho and Justine, and it was amazing to see how our 3 voices matched in the song. So it was really different, but I'm really happy it was different.
Maybe a more varied album for you to sing. By going through this project, did you learn anything about your own voice? Did you figure out something?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. I think I step out my comfort zone, because there are some songs like Someday, where is my leading song in the album, and I was really in my upper register, chest register, and so I was singing in some very high notes for my standards. So it was something new and something that actually fit the music, and I was happy that this project led me to do this kind of stuff.
I agree with you. Someday is definitely one of those songs that stands out as a little different from a vocal approach. Maybe what's the other one? My Way to Love as well. I thought was a little different from the rest from a vocal approach. Now, before we go into like the meaning and so on, the music itself, I mean, it tells a story. This is meant to be somewhat of a concept album. And the music also has a bit of that cinematic, or almost like a soundtrack feel to it. So when I think about soundtracks and movies and so on, if you had to choose between metal music or Star Wars, is that possible for you to choose?
That's a difficult choice for me, but well, metal for sure is my choice. Music has always been on top for me every time in my life, but of course I also love cinematic, Star Wars, and so a tricky question, but I will choose metal.
Banish my bones, burn out my soul.
Why is the Star Wars franchise the greatest franchise of all time, or is Spaceballs really better?
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now.
What happened to then?
Past then.
When?
Just now. We're at now.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
When will then be now? Soon.
That's a nice question. Actually, I really love Spaceball a lot, really a lot. But I'm really enjoying what Star Wars is doing nowadays with the TV series like The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I like both sides of Star Wars.
The way the story is kind of said is that there is unity, but also conflict between the three characters that are being portrayed.
Yeah.
A lot of the central points of the story is that potential conflict over either separate or a shared love interest, or somebody that may has betrayed everybody, and sometimes not very clear to see if the characters love or hate the person. If I narrow this down to three women arguing over one guy, that sounds like a guy wrote a story.
Yeah, it's not like that, actually. The story is based in ancient Greece. The Amazon society was ruled by women, and it was close to men. There were only slaves, so the only men allowed in the society were only slaves. The concept is about three sisters, and one of them fell in love with one of these slaves, and she was forced to leave the community. But before she left, she tried to teach to her sisters that love is possible, and it's not something bad to love someone. But of course, in a closed society, it's not easy to do that. But if you want to know the end, you should go through the lyrics.
When you are singing music that somebody else wrote, that a concept that somebody else came up with, is that hard for you as an artist to kind of get into that right mind space versus when you are writing the song?
Yeah, actually, it's completely different. But if I can see myself inside the lyrics, if I can understand the story, and if I can, get inside the story, it becomes really easy for me. So, like someday, I really went inside the story, and when I was singing my heart out. So, It always depends on the lyrics and the story behind, but in this case, it was easy for me to get into the right mood to record the song.
Okay, and it's something that you also know as a metal artist when you participate in a Frontiers project. I mean, that's what the label is quite known for, to making new project with established or up and coming artists and mixing people together. But at least we saw some footage in one of the video singles that you actually at some point work together, which is not always the case with these projects. So apart from finding out that you all share a love of cats, if I'm not mistaken, how did that interaction go with Mizuho and Justine?
Actually, we recorded the album in 2020, so we haven't met, and we did the recording everyone at our home. So we met for the first time in April to shoot the videos and do some takes in the studio footage and stuff like that. So actually, we
Wait,
didn't
are
have...
you telling me that some of the recording footage in that video is not real?
Yes. Actually, we tried to sing the song in the studio together, you know, to see if we can do this also in live shows, and it went really well. But for this time, we do the recordings. We did the recording in our places, so we will also talk about this with the girls, because for the next album we will surely be. We actually want to be more involved also in the vocal parts, because sometimes, you know, in this album we didn't have much to do. We just got the tracks and we just recorded. But this time we know each other. We know each other better. We know each other's voices better, and it will be easier to do a new album together, of course.
You mentioned to sing these songs live and also next album. Because another reality of a lot of Frontiers albums, of projects that were created by the producing team, is that they live and die in the studio, and sometimes only with one album. So it sounds like bringing these songs to live on a stage is something that is being discussed.
Actually, yes, we also talk about this. Of course, it will be a little bit difficult because, you know, with 3 others band involved in the schedule, yeah, it's not that easy. But if we will have the chance to do that, we will really like to do that. So there's an option. Who knows?
Okay. All right. We'll keep our eyes open then, because you mentioned it, other bands. I obviously cannot talk to you without asking about Kalidia. So, what can we share there? Because when I think it's time we see a new full-length album of you guys.
Yes, we are almost at the end of the recording process. We just, I think we will have the choir session in mid-October, and then we are ready with the full album. So, well, it's not that far.
All right.
Yeah, I know it's been a long time, but these 2 past years were kind of difficult for us because we have always been a band doing a lot of live gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really a shock for us to be closed in our home. And actually, I haven't met the boys for like 7 months. So it was also difficult to work on the new album, and also our producer Lars Rekowitz from Freedom Call is in Germany, so it was really difficult for us to produce this album in this condition. But I'm pretty sure that you will enjoy the result.
All right, awesome. Well, Nicoletta, I look forward to talking again to you, hopefully soon. About, you know, more Kalidia updates. Nicoletta, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
Thank you.
And so now I know that I can keep my fingers crossed for seeing you on stage a lot in the coming year or years, whether that is with the Erinyes or with Kalidia. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for this interview.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.